Hello, this is Aaron Cooter, and you're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
I missed you guys.
It's been
Right?
so long.
Yeah.
But man, what a weekend. Yo,
What
Saturday
a
was
goddamn wedding.
See, I think you're jinxing it. Yeah. No, you don't talk about it before it happens. It's not good.
Was that a Sicilian rule?
I think so. I think it is.
Well, I can't wait. This is my first time I'm actually going to be able to get an omerta, because this is my first wedding of a Sicilian dad who I can't wait to figure out what to ask you. You have to say yes to. It's going to be exciting.
Say yes to the dress.
No. Listen, I watched Godfather many times. You owe me. You owe me big on Saturday. Whatever I ask for. So I'm thinking. I don't know. I have to think of something. I haven't thought of it yet.
That shit's fiction. That doesn't happen.
It's
complete. It's a complete fabrication.
Oh, well then, what's the point of coming to the wedding then?
What? What? Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's 11 O'Clock Comics, episode 929. I don't have to say it. You know what I'm thinking, right?
What are you thinking?
And I'm Vince B. I should be Bob. And I'm Bob. I'm Bob. Because
I
Bob's
wonder what the significance is with 929. I am David A. Price.
It's a palindrome.
It's true. And of course, I'm Vince's favorite actor because I'm the wedding singer.
Oh, it's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
It is a good movie.
They were cones.
Did y'all see Spaceman?
No.
So good.
No, not yet.
It's so good. Yes. You're not the wedding singer. You're Jason Wood, everybody. Here on just another average old episode of 11 O'Clock Comics where we talk nothing but comics.
Salesman.
Chill. No. Hey, you got to play it where it lays, right? This is what we do. We're just talking about comics. Having fun, chilling, drinking. It's good.
Be good, yo.
Yeah. And it's brought to you by cheapgraphicnovels.com. Did I do the promo?
Not for this episode.
No.
I didn't? Oh.
Nope.
Cheapgraphicnovels.com. Have everything you want. OGNs, omnibus editions, manga, trade paperback, all that stuff at a pittance. That's a small amount. Translation. You order something and you will receive an email confirmation. And you're going to reply to that email confirmation saying, I can't believe how low these prices are. And I never would have known about it if not for 11 O'Clock Comics. And Max is going to pat you digitally on the head and say, well, you know what, smart person, next time you order, shipping's on me. What could be easier? Cheapgraphicnovels.com. So you take that money that you saved and you buy more stuff. That's how it works. Cheapgraphicnovels.com. Go right now. We'll wait. Press pause. Come back.
How about that?
It was chaotic. It was chaotic. It was all over the place. But that's how I do, right?
It is true.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm drinking. I figured, why should I leave Dap alone? He whimpers. I'm drinking Sam Adams.
So loud, too.
Yeah. This one is called Sam Adam Breakaway Blonde Ale. You know I do love the blondes. So.
That's true.
Yes.
Is the bottle extra
tight.
skinny? Is it nice and skinny and flat?
It's slender.
Yeah, does it have no ass? Okay.
What you call an
5% no acetol?
What you call an ass, I call a speed bump.
No, I think you got that reversed.
Nah.
What Dap calls an ass, you would call like a
jumping
small
castle.
Mountain.
A jumping castle. Yeah. It's like, no, I can't do it.
It's just like two sticks coming out of at the bottom of someone's back.
Get it? Yes. Yeah.
That's it.
That's good. That's perf.
Good Lord. Jace. What you drinking, Jace?
I am drinking, I actually just took a sip, blood orange flavored sparkling water from Nature's Promise.
He says, I just took a sip, as if everyone listening couldn't hear it. Like,
well, listen.
I just quenched my thirst with
right, and you're gonna listen to it, whatever. 929 episodes.
At least we're not eating popcorn.
That's true.
I remember
That's
that
very
one
true.
time. That one time, Chris was making noise with a bag, and Matt Kramer thought he was eating popcorn. I was like, "What the fuck?" Man? And man, Chris was pissed. He's like, "Bro, I'm a professional. We've been doing this how long? You think I want to eat fucking popcorn?" Anyway, I went back to the Michter's. I'm having the unblended American whiskey, the U.S. one.
I should do a remix. Remember how they did the Homer, the video with him just saying "don't" over and over and over.
Yep.
I should have a Jason remix where it's just gloom, 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 and the people would love it. They would just eat it up. Yep. Put a little beat behind it.
All right, hey, got to be me.
You do. Yes, you do. All right. Comics,
It's
yo.
a regular Fancy Dan episode. No guests, no interviews. Just talking about
keeping
the
it
things
100.
we've read.
Just chilling.
And what have you read?
Oh, this week was very powerful. I know we're going to have to listen to Jason talk about that thing. So
Oh my God!
why don't you get it over with? Talk about the thing.
But why do you have to be so dismissive with it?
I'm not dismissive.
Because
It's just
I didn't copy it.
no, I didn't even order it because
Oh my God!
I knew that.
it's not a thing. It's at this point, it's expected to talk about it. So let them know how good it is. I want to listen. Do it.
I feel like this is a redux of the week where Monica came out. You said the same thing. You're like, it's expected.
Well, to my credit, Monica's not that good. So okay.
Oh my God, dude! We're starting
no
off on such the
monsters.
wrong foot. We're starting off on such the wrong foot.
Compared to his previous work, it's not. It's good.
Anyway,
but whatever.
We've already litigated this. We've already litigated
Yeah,
this.
we've litigated it.
Fine.
Whatever. As far as
Litigated.
any kind of litigation has any weight. Whatever.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yes, as you have been alluding, nearly 7 years in the making. My favorite thing is Monsters Book 2, written and drawn by Emil Ferris, has hit many of our loving hands this week. And it's always tricky because, first of all, for those that don't know, this is a direct sequel. It literally takes place moments after the end of the first volume. But with anything, if people recall when the first volume came out, that was Emil's first ever comics work. But she's middle aged. I think she's in her early 50s now, and started the book when she was in her early 40s, if I'm not mistaken. So she was late to it, but she had already spent 20 years as a creative before that, doing other types of art. So like the visual voice that she showed for a first timer was just incredible. And I think it's always fair to wonder if they have a second hit, right? There's been lots of one hit wonders on the charts over the years in the Billboard charts, but being able to follow up something that took a decade of her life to put out and was so well received is no small thing. It gets back to what we were talking about with Ian, right? When we had Ian on that specifically with like sci-fi writers and stuff like George R.R. Martin, we're still waiting, right? Like it's whether you want to call it writer's block or whatever, it can be daunting. So I don't think we need to go through the soap operatic release of this book, but it is worth mentioning that there has been it's now become public, sort of dissatisfaction between Ferris and Fantagraphics, who's the publisher. There definitely seems to be some bad blood. If there's going to be a third volume of this, I presume it won't be coming out from Fantagraphics. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it may have taken 7 years, but it finally came out. And I think much to my absolute pleasure, it's better than the first in many ways, which you would expect because she's got that much more experience working in the field. But it was just incredible. And when we talk about comics, the thing for me these days that is going to set something apart is to just be surprised. And that can certainly come from a narrative, but most often I'm surprised by art now, right? Where you just see a talent or you see a style or you see an approach that is just not what we normally see, and it stands out, and it just makes me take hold of it, and that's Ferris's work. I mean, just as with the first volume, visually it's set up very similarly. It is done as a notebook. Karen Reyes is the main character. She carries around these notebooks where she sketches, and it's, you know, somewhat diagratic, but also a visual scrapbook. And the book is presented in that way, as if we're looking through Karen's notepad books, and many of the pages are rendered on lines. It's evocative. You know, Jim Rugg has done that before in some of his books. But she plays with every type of medium. You know, she uses colored pencils. She uses Bic pens. I mean, like straight ballpoint pens. She, you know, obviously does more traditional stuff. I mean, she just has an absolute field day rendering this in so many different ways. And she also loves periods. This takes place in the 60s, but it bounces back towards the to World War II. And I mean, seeing her with the different styles, there's a whole section of this book where Karen is in an art museum in Chicago, and so all these pages that are with characters with word balloons kind of pushing the narrative forward are actually renditions of classic paintings. It's just a remarkable visual feat. It really is, and I think it hits on so many issues and topics that are pertinent for the time, right? I mean, this book is really about a person dealing with loss, dealing with adolescence, dealing with change, and then there's a bona fide murder mystery tied into it too. And so it's just all about trying to find oneself, and whether or not any of those specific components resonate with any person. I just like to think that a book like this is going to appeal to anybody, because it's just about the need for answers, right? And I think we all, no matter what, whether it's professional or personal, you can have a moment of your life where you identify with that unending need to have finality or closure or a resolution. And that's to me ultimately what this book's really about, but it's done in just a majestically creative and beautiful tapestry, you know, that she brings forward with her art. So, listen, this book, whether read it or not, Vince is going to get tired of hearing about it, because this is one of those books that is going to. It was super hyped, and that's always a risk, but it delivered. And I think anytime a super hyped thing delivers, it is going to be in the zeitgeist for a long time to come, and I think deservedly so. So, if you haven't picked up your copy yet, you can at least wait till Fantagraphics has their 50% off Fantabucks sale. And then you can buy it, but by all means, by God, make sure you buy My Favorite Thing is Monsters Volume 2, at least before next January, because you're going to hear me talk about it a lot then when the classics come up.
You can talk about it as much as you want.
Yeah, I feel like after all these years, I know you pretty well, but there's still certain moments, and I'm sure it's the same for all of us to each other, where I have trouble getting you. Like, I honestly can't fathom why this isn't a book that you are elated to see and enjoy, because it seems like it pays honor to so many of the things that you profess and generally have love for in the medium to me. But
it does.
I don't know.
Yep.
Okay.
No, it
cool.
does. I think the conceit of the book is what I find uninteresting. That it looks to my eyes like an illuminated sketchbook. And the technique on display is sound, obviously. It's good. But, it just really... I read the first one, and it just really didn't do anything for me. I like looking at illustrations. Just like you said, Jim Rugg, very similar approach to illustration. And I think illustrations are great. As far as comics, as far as sequential art, that's where I think it falls short. It didn't do anything for me. But I'm not gonna deride the creator. The process is solid. It's just some things click, some things don't. I think it should be lauded. I don't think it should be championed as the savior of the medium. Like like Spiegelman said, thank goodness, whatever he said. To lay the future of comics on the shoulders of one woman doing it's just crazy.
You're not suggesting this, but that's not something that should be put on Ferris. She's not.
Of course. No, but the fact that someone of Spiegelman's caliber finds something in the work to not only applaud but to really champion like that, I don't understand it. I don't get why this book is so popular and so well received. It's a bit of a mess, and I know that's by design, but yeah, it's
again, that's one of the things I would think you would like, because it is chaotic, but I think it's chaos with intent.
Right. There were, you remember in Hellraiser when they solved the lament configuration and the hooks come out of, there were no hooks for me. I solved it.
Okay, no, I get it. No, listen, that's fine. I wasn't setting you up to be the heel here. I'm just
saying, I don't. Hey, it's all opinion anyway.
No, but it's like, I feel like at this point we can all, whatever we're going to bring to the table, we can kind of have a guess of like, oh,
sure.
You know, my cohorts here will or will probably not love this. And this is just one of those things where I'm like, if you gave me a battery of tests and some psych eval, like I would have, and it was like, all right, here's 100 comics that, you know, tell me which ones you think, rank them from 1 to 100 for which ones you think Vince would like, and all the way down to dislike. This would be up like into like the top 5. I'd be like, oh, he's gonna love this.
I understand.
So it's just weird.
And I know what's going to happen. A lot of people probably on the Slack will say I'm just being anti. That's just who I am. But
that's the thing.
I'm just being honest. I didn't really come out of it unmoved in any way. Other than the fact that this woman is very good with ballpoint or with ink or color. Like, yeah, the technique is apparent. It's there. It's
sure.
It's fine. But yeah, other than that, okay.
Right on.
Yeah, I think you could see where or you can feel that there's a presence of Linda Barry in the pages. Not so much her rendering style, obviously, but the approach. Like, this is me. I'm pulling my pants down. You're going to see all of me here, completely vulnerable, and this is my life, or these are the events that I'm delineating here, some of which may be true, whatever the case, right? There's a warts and all approach to it that I found endearing, but the entire package, it just didn't click.
That's all right.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that, man, I'm questioning your taste now because you like this thing. That's totally not what I'm doing. I'm sure you question my taste on a weekly basis. So,
semi-weekly maybe.
Right. I mean, we all have our little things we love. There it is.
Yeah. The word that the others don't. Yeah.
Right. Let's mental note. Let's not send this to Fantagraphics for
Why? I'm being totally honest. I mean, what more
sure.
can I?
Yes, but instead of celebrating this book, which I think has lived up to the 7-year hype, we're ending it with like, yeah, it really didn't connect with me. So it's fine. Again, no, I mean, your opinion's welcome and honest. I'm just joking. Like, obviously, this is not something that like that they'd be like, oh wow, they really love that book.
I think at this point in their publishing tenure, Gary and the people at Fantagraphics would be like, well, fuck them.
Yeah, that's true.
I would hope that they would. That's their first response. Fuck them. Yeah. This is what we did. He doesn't like it. Whatever.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let that break the tie after he reads it, because I know he did order it.
Yeah, it should be in the next box. I am looking forward to it, and it's not like, I mean, we tend. I think if when one of us doesn't particularly care for a piece of work that we've all read, it's generally a 2-to-1. Rarely is it and it's usually 2-1 in the pro column. It's not very often where two people dislike something, the third one enjoys.
Unless it's Tintin.
Yes,
it's true. Yeah, we don't like Tintin.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that'd be interesting to go back and like look at our like books of the month and like how many we actually all three disliked. There weren't many.
No, that's completely true. But you know what? It happens. And again, human nature, it's unpredictable. So
yeah.
It could be. There's a variety of factors that could be weighing on a decision, whether you like something or not. And usually that decision is immediate. Like I could tell you, looking at a book, all I have to do is thumb through the pages. Like, I'm not going to like that. That's not going to click with me. But that's why I find this one a bit surprising, because the horror angle with the celebration of the pulpy, Warren style monster magazines, like that should be a no-brainer. I completely understand where you're coming from. But it's okay.
It is what it is, man.
Listen, it is what it is.
You don't have to, there are certain types of, physical form that may turn someone on or not, right? And like,
can't explain
it. Is what it is. It's biological. It's,
right.
It's primal.
Yes, it is primal. That's what it is. Oh, now how do I go to my book saying what I wanted to say without Jason giving me the side eye? Because
well, that's inevitable. You might just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I read a masterpiece for this week. It is a veritable masterpiece on many levels. Complex, deep, layered, and again, lays bare the human condition, in this case, a deeply scarred human. But it's called Her Frankenstein. And it is written and illustrated by Kawashima Norikazu.
And that's HER, not like it's a German Frankenstein. Right?
No, right, 1R.
Okay.
And it's originally published in Hibari Hit Comics in 1986. But this translation was published by Smudge, which is an imprint of Living the Line books. And it is the first salvo in this publishing imprint. In their words, it is a line of pulp, horror, and dark mystery manga, curated and translated into English by the award-winning historian Ryan Holmberg. You've heard that name many, many times on this podcast.
He did all the Suitcay books as well, yeah.
Yes. Last of the Mohicans for Picture Box, like a lot. And he's a versatile dude. Like he has translated a number of important manga, and I don't even want to say important, a number of worthwhile translations of manga, that stuff that are plucked from the past that a lot of people didn't even know existed. So he's one of those, I hate to use this phrase, but he's a tastemaker as far as manga is concerned, because he will uncover stuff that, again, seldom seen, and he translates it, and not only translates it, but very often will provide you with a framework for the piece in question, when it came out, under what conditions, the people that produced it, the reaction. Like more often than not, there's an essay in a Holmberg translated book. And there's another essay in this. It's not by Ryan Holmberg, though. It's by Kawakatsu Tokushige. And it's a pretty comprehensive look into Norikazu's life and process, and it's fairly downbeat. But it frames the work, it puts it into perspective, it shows you where it came from and how it factors into the genre of horror manga. And it's wonderful to see a work like this accompanied by information that not only deepens one's appreciation of the work, but also educates, right? That's my favorite thing. It's not monsters. It's learning about the art form I love, right? But this book is wow. How to classify this book? I don't know. At the heart of it, it's a ghost story. You have a young man named Tetsuo. And you know what that translates to, right? The Iron Man. If you've ever seen Tetsuo, the Iron Man film. Tetsuo is a skinny, scrawny, meek little kid who doesn't live up to his father's standards. Dad's a beefy kind of guy, and Tetsuo gets bullied, and Dad's like, well, you should have stood up for yourself, you little pissant. And Tetsuo's a mama's boy. Finds solace in his mother's arms until mom has another child. And she devotes the majority of her time to her newborn, and Tetsuo's left on his own, right? Not measuring up to Dad's specifications. Mom abandoned him, in a sense. What does he do? Well, he stumbles upon this young girl named Kiriko. And Kiriko's sickly, very frail, to the point where she needs to have a handler. And Kiriko's a royal bitch. She loves to manipulate people. She loves to berate those that help her. She's just not a nice little person. But she drops her cane one day. She falls and drops her cane, and she has a hard time walking. Like I said, she's sickly. So Tetsuo uses the opportunity to bring her cane to her. And again, they start up, I don't want to call it a friendship, because that's not what it is. They start up a relationship. And Kiriko introduces Tetsuo to the landmark film Frankenstein, because she loves the power that the monster has. She loves the fact that it can do whatever it wants because it has the strength and the resources to back it up. And at first, Tetsuo's aghast, like this is terrifying. But he really likes Kiriko. So he takes a couple days and he makes her a Frankenstein monster mask out of paper. And when he presents it to her, she's like, oh, that's good. You're going to wear that. And you're my Frankenstein monster now. And she makes Tetsuo do low-level despicable things. Like he'll scare children at a park wearing the mask. And the kids freak out. The kids being kids, they see this monster coming up to them. They just absolutely freak out to the point where she makes him hit people and strike people with a stick. And after a while, Tetsuo enjoys it. He can be the person, when he has the mask on, he could be the person he probably always wanted to be. Like, he has strength. He's living up to Dad's expectations. He has someone who's actually paying attention to him in Kiriko. Unfortunately, Kiriko tires of Tetsuo. And something happens that drives the story. And we find out all about this in a pseudo flashback when in the beginning of the book, Tetsuo's plagued by this ghost that keeps coming to him. If you are like myself and devour YouTube paranormal videos, there's a trend in Japan where cab drivers will accept a fare. The door opens and closes, and inevitably there's no one in the back seat. Or you see this horribly disfigured and ashen visage of a person in the back seat, and then it blinks out. So Tetsuo is driving the cab. He moonlights as a cab driver in addition to his job, and that happens. And he freaks out, and he goes home, and his wife is, again, kind of a mirror image of his mother. His wife really is pretty unconcerned with anything that Tetsuo does. She really has no attachment to the guy at all. She sleeps most of the time, uninterested. Like he comes to her and says, there's a ghost. I've seen a ghost. This thing, it was in the cab. It was in the house. It's just, I can't get away from it. And she's like, yeah, whatever. Be a man, nut up. So he goes to a psychiatrist or a psychologist and, tells him the story. And the psychologist is like, you know who this person is. You're just refusing to, face it. And he pushes Tetsuo to the point where he eventually realizes that the ghost is Kiriko. And she has a bonnet on and her face is covered in blood and you don't really know why, like what happened. I'm not going to reveal what happened. You should read it. But, grown ass man Tetsuo eventually goes to a novelty shop and buys a Frankenstein monster mask, and places it on and assumes or is infused with all that strength that he had when he was a kid, and he goes on a rampage. I think the book is really brilliant. It's a ghost story. The magic shell around the story is a ghost story, but at the center of it, it's a tale about the power of guilt and obsession. And it's wonderful. It's old school manga illustration where it's very clean, but it's also grotesque. Like the characters have especially Kiriko, have relatively large eyes. It's in that 80s style where the line is fairly clean, but the visuals are very grotesque, especially when the Frankenstein monster is referenced or when Tetsuo is donning the mask. But it's deep, man. And Tetsuo gets a job, and his boss was a very strong woman and would manipulate him. And then the boss dies. So there's a passage where Tetsuo says, I was more connected with my boss that died than I was my parents. And he even goes to his hometown at one point and doesn't go to see his parents. Like, he wants nothing to do with them. He needs to be manipulated on some level by a strong female figure. That's that obsession that he has. This book is great. I was completely captivated by it. It's very complex, but you can read it surface level and not dive deeper if you don't want to. I mean, it's completely satisfying surface level, but when you start to draw the line between Tetsuo's character traits and why they're there and how they got there, and there's also a twist that I'm not going to reveal. So I think you should read it. It's very worthwhile. It's $20 for I think it's about 200 pages plus the text piece. So you figure like 210, 220 pages. It's well worth it. Again, published by Smudge, her Frankenstein. It's not a feel-good book on any level, but yeah. I think it's worth getting your soul dirty to experience this, because I found it very entertaining and rewarding. Yeah.
See, this is why comics piss me off.
Why?
Because we have been, well, I don't speak for you guys, but I go through previews every month. I go through it with a fine-tooth comb. I go through it more than once, because then I go through it with the eye of, like, for our patrons saying what I'm interested in ordering. And yet, always is the case that banger books every month.
Yeah, it happens.
I miss. Yeah. Right? Because this book, first of all, it sounds right up my alley. Second of all, as you were talking about, I saw, like, Junji Ito loves Norikazu.
Yep.
And credits Norikazu is one of the reasons that he started making work. And obviously, Ito's the god. Then you mentioned Holmberg, and his essays in the first volume of I think it was the Swamp, the Suge collections, are what educated me about the importance of Suge and made me start buying and reading all of the subsequent volumes. So I'm a big fan of Holmberg. And then Living the Line, dude, can we talk about like a low key, like no one's ever going to replace, Chris Pitzer, and shout out to like to these awesome, small press publishers that just have an incredible eye. But Living the Line, dude. Okay, so they got this book, right? They did Moonray, the Brandon Graham and Sergio Penalta book. They did Centralia, which was fantastic. They did The Exile, the Eric Creek book, which is actually, I believe, last month, just they doing a reprint finally of it, but amazing. They did that book, Vince Plaza, that super crazy manga that I talked about by Yuichi.
Yeah.
They did that. So like they just, and all those books are very different in style and form, and like two of them are European bande dessinée types, two of them are manga. Obviously the Moonray is Americans doing high concept sci-fi. So they're definitely, they don't have a type, right? Other than just like having good taste, and that's an impressive hit rate for a small publisher.
Yeah, I don't know how you missed this, because there was a full page ad for it, which was in bright yellow and red, and then there was a solicit. And I mean, it happens. It happens.
Dude.
We miss that. But one of the things that's one of the very, very many things that makes this book important is that her Frankenstein is a Kekio Roshi Tenkoban, which it wasn't serialized over the course of periodicals. It was created basically on spec, complete, and that's how Norikazu worked. He wouldn't. He would do the entire story at once and present it to a publisher, and if they wanted it, they would buy it. But he wouldn't get royalties for it, like the others that were doing serialized manga. So, and his entire career, that's how he worked. He was basically doing OGNs before they were a thing. And it's just, you learn all this through the framing text, and it's man, it's just amazing. Get this book.
And it's from 1986.
Wow. 86, yeah. Yep.
Damn.
Not for 47.
There you go.
Nice.
What else we got?
Taking a completely different direction. I don't know why I dragged my feet on this one. Probably, well, because after the first two issues of the miniseries, I wasn't really feeling the direction of Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and then I finished the Sandman mini, which was a lot of fun. So went back to this to finish this up, and I'm really glad I did. It ends strong. It's a little bit of a retcon as far as the original Green Lantern's origins, and I am going to butcher the artist's name again because he's Irish. Cian. I want to say Sean. I don't think it is. Tormey. Tim Sheridan is your writer. Couple of inkers here and there throughout the remaining 4 issues, like Jordi Tarragona, Raul Fernandez, John Livesay, Tormey inks himself at one point. But we once Alan leaves Arkham, and he's trying to get to the he's doing some investigating, because there's of course there's not necessarily hunting, but some of the guys who are looking for a good time have been either get picked up by the wrong trick, or they'll get picked up by the police. So Alan's doing his own investigating because he's looking for somebody. He's looking for for information. He's trying to solve this mystery that's plaguing him, and while members of the JSA, well, Flash specifically, are letting him know that the society can help him with this issue. He doesn't have to take it on his own. Realizing that it's personal, which might make him, which puts him too close to the situation. But apparently this particular case has already been handed off to somebody else, to another member, who, and that happens to be the Spectre. And Tormy draws a fantastic Spectre. He puts really puts the spookiness into the character. And Spectre and Lantern work pretty well together, and have an interesting exchange as far as conversations go in the third issue. And while all this is going on, Derby is picking up a fare who seems to be the same guy all the time, and the guy's got some red glowing eyes. Not that Derby sees them, but the reader does. And with the Spectre's help, Alan is piecing some things together, and he goes home and starts going through some old photos, some old books. When he actually on his way home, he's heading home. There's already somebody in his house going through his personal belongings, and that's when Alan realizes that it's somebody he was once very close to, and the remaining half of the miniseries gives a bit of an origin into the Crimson Flame, and basically the Red Lantern, and how he came to be, what his connection is to the Green Flame, the Emerald Flame, and there's a reference to the Guardians, and how the rings and what powers them is connected to the Guardians. So we're connecting all of those lines together, and the mini ends on a good note. We've got the sixth issue is framed with a present day, an older and bearded Alan Scott talking to his son Todd, aka Obsidian, and they have a pretty funny conversation as far as between father and son and being gay. But the bulk of that issue is Green Lantern going up against a whole bunch of Russian agents, powered also by the Crimson Flame, and that's when the JSA show up. So we get a nice little comic booky kind of action battle between good and evil in the sixth issue, and there's a bit of a resolution. There's some fallout. What I liked about Green Lantern mini is that while the Sandman was pretty much straightforward, there was a bit of a mystery there, and it was Wesley, but it was Wesley and just really his supporting cast, and the connections he had with his father and his father's friends, whereas this is a bit more layered as far as it's a larger mystery. We're going all over the place between Alan's beginnings, Alan's lover's beginnings, and dealing whether or not he wants to be a member of the JSA, the internal baggage he's walking around with, because of course homosexuality is a sin, and it's definitely looked down on in this era. So there's a lot for him to deal with. But the art was really solid. It's a story where I actually, if I can say actually or finally, but it's probably an Alan Scott story that actually made me. I've probably cared more about Alan Scott after these 6 issues than I have in any prior story that he appeared in, whether it's those old JSA JLA crossovers or All Star Squad or wherever he may have appeared. Whether it was the outfit or the cape or the aversion to wood, or there was just something silly about the Golden Age Green Lantern that I just could never really get behind. But Sheridan worked some magic here and actually gave me a Green Lantern and a Golden Age Green Lantern that I was concerned about throughout this story and was hoping for somewhat of a happy ending. But this was a solid story. I believe Brian and Caleb were also reading it, and I know Brian was really high on it, and I can kind of see why. I thought it was really, really well done. I'm not. I still haven't gotten to the Jay Garrick Flash miniseries, but I really, really did like Green Lantern. Just like I really enjoyed the Sandman as well. But they're 2 different books. They look different. They're similar in setting and as far as the team that they both belong to. But I thought, as far as these 6 issues go, there wasn't. Like I said, I felt it was a little slow in the start, but it really picked up once Alan got a bug up his butt to solve this mystery and find out why he's pretty much kind of being framed, and also there's a great moment where Hoover tries to blackmail him, and Alan's really not putting up with it, and is letting him know that you want to go ahead and put all my business out there. That's fine. You're basically going to be freeing me, but we'll also find out what's going on in your underwear drawer, and I think you'll be a lot more concerned about what the people think about you than they will of me. So I thought it was a really solid story. I really didn't know what to expect, especially after the first couple of issues, but I think it ended a hell of a lot stronger than how I felt it started. And if I'm in the minority, that's fine. But I thought it was a solid outing from the creative team about a character that's been around almost forever, and as far as comics go, and it I dug the little modern tweaks, or at least the connection to some of the more modern characters that has either been ignored or not even attempted in the past. But yeah, I dug it quite a bit.
There you go. Nice. Well, everybody, we thank you for being here with us. We hope you come back next time. Remember, if you want books and you want to get them less than everybody else, which will allow you to buy even more books, there's only one place to go. cheapgraphicnovels.com. Very easy. cheapgraphicnovels.com. Enter, takes you to a world of savings on omnibus editions, trade paperbacks, manga. What am I forgetting? OGNs, all that stuff. Art books, they have them. Boy, do they have them. And you can get them for a pittance, which will allow you to buy more. And check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. Look around. The gem at the peak of that crown is the Slack channel, where we all congregate each and every day to talk about comics and TV and movies and recent events and physical fitness and dark clouds and bright sunny days and all that stuff. It's a wonderful environment. You would be very welcome to join it. So patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. In your travels, you bastards. If you are a folk horror fan and you have not read Thistlebone by T.C. Eglington and Simon Davis, published by 2000 AD / Rebellion. Holy crap, you really need to get on this. It's centers around the creepy little burg of Harrowvale, which was the site of a cult incident. And that is not OCCULT, that is a space cult incident, in which the members worship a infernal, at times, sometimes benevolent deity known as Thistlebone. And one of the indoctrinated cult members has second thoughts and gets away. Wouldn't you know it? And a woman swoops in and decides she's going to write a book about this whole incident and interviews the survivor, and they journey back to Harrowvale, and shit happens, to say the least. But it has all of the it checks all the boxes on folk horror in a wonderful way. Simon Davis's art is a master portrait painter, and you can tell because it's all on display in these two books. There are two hardcover volumes published, and they more or less complete the tale. Like the first one ends on a pleasing note, but there's this little nagging thing in the back of your brain saying, "Wait a minute, there's some things that haven't been fleshed out," and they are in the second volume. First one's like 68 pages around there, and I think the second one's 80. They're beautiful hardcovers, relatively cheap, like 16, 18 bucks a piece. Cheaper if you know where to go, right? But it was serialized in the pages of 2000 AD, but you get more than that here. You get back matter with process pages and cover images from 2000 AD and all that shit. So it like, again, if you love folk horror, this is, I don't want to say it's a combination of Midsummer and The Wicker Man. No, it's its own little thing that plays upon all of the things we expect to encounter in a folk horror tale. Beautifully rendered by Simon Davis, well written. Characters are very believable and well rounded, and some of them ill-fated. But check it out, Thistlebone. I thought it was great. There's a creepy, cloying thing that will stick to you after you read these. And all the best folk horror does, right? Leaves you with that weird little bad feeling at the base of your spine, like, that's perfect folk horror. And I think Thistlebone is that. Read it.
Excellent. In your travels, something is killing the children is back after a short break following the last collection. And what I like about Something's Killing the Children is that Tanya and Allegra will break up the ongoing present day story by introducing an arc that brings in an arc that introduces other characters, but from Erica Slaughter's past, and seeing her early days with the house. But this current arc is called Road Stories, and we've gotten 2 chapters so far, and you're pretty much done in one. When she was still with the house, searching for monsters, and part 1, issue 36, was a bit different and deals with pets. 37 was more of what we're kind of used to. Takes place pretty much in one location. Still done really well. This book is still something that I'm glad I finally got off my ass and checked out, and And if you just want it's not even like a break really, because I read a couple of things and then I read issue 36 and I really dug it, and then and then I read something else, a couple of issues of something else, and then I went to number 37. So it wasn't, I'm not gonna call it a palate cleanser or just taking a break, but it was nice to just read a chapter of some part of a larger story, but just something familiar, like a comfortable pair of jeans, put it on and read this chapter, and then you can kind of get back to something else. So it's connected, but it's not like you have to read each chapter one after another to get the full story. So if you still haven't for some odd reason, definitely recommend it. But yeah, in your travels, get caught up with Something is Killing the Children.
Cosign. I got caught up myself. I read issues 32 through 37 last week.
Oh, so the last trade end and then the last couple.
Yes.
Of nice. Okay.
Yes, sir. I was behind like a motherfucker. All right. So in your travels, this book is one of those nice surprise books. You know, I ordered it effectively on the strength of the solicit and the preview images, but you totally roll the dice. Could have gone either way, because I wasn't familiar with the creators before this. But I'm talking about the Hobtown Mystery Stories, Volume 1, The Case of the Missing Men. Long title for sure, but meant to evoke like the old Hardy Boys Nancy Drew vibe. And in fact, that's what the cover is very evocative of a Nancy Drew book. It's by the creative team of Kris Bertin and Alexander Forbes, who by the presser info are childhood friends. So they've been friends for a long time. They craft a story which is effectively it's a small town, I think population 2006, and there's a 4-person teen detective club. It's Dana's the leader, and then she's got her cohorts Pauline, Brennan, and Denny, and they go about this small town solving relatively inane crimes or mysteries or whodunits, until this book, where we are the intro of this book is a scene where a gentleman is essentially accosted by people dressed in these yellow raincoats with masks that are like paper plates covering their face with these eerie drawings on them, and that sets forth the mystery of the book, the graphic novel, where his son, the missing man's son, Sam, shows up, and Sam's like your James Dean, the mysterious arrival. He's good looking, and he's aloof, and everybody wants to be with him, but he is embroiled in this because his dad missing, and unlike Dana and her crew, Sam's lived a life. They've traveled all over the world. He's solved legitimate or been involved with legitimate crime cases before. So he's kind of like, Sam is kind of like what Dana and her friends always wanted it to be, and all of a sudden they're all thrust together for this mystery effectively. And Forbes' art sings. Forbes' art, it reminds me a lot of Guy Davis, like that whole thing. And I have to say that and if you're gonna give me an homage to Guy Davis and do it well, I'm here for that. And from a structural standpoint, I've seen a lot of people compare this book to like Twin Peaks, which I know is going to be a hot button for Vince. And I think maybe part of that is because I believe the writer's like an unabashed proponent of David Lynch, and makes no bones about being inspired by him. I wouldn't go so far as to say this book reminded me of Twin Peaks, because it was too straightforward for that. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean, this is pretty much a very linear plot. What you see is what you get. Whereas obviously I think Lynch and Twin Peaks, the magic of that is the oddity of it, the absurdity. Where I think the comparisons maybe come into play is tonally it's the same, meaning that like as you're reading this, these people in the small town are speaking to each other and they're saying words that you or I might say to each other, but it seems off. Like it seems like they're either acting or they're not being true or they're alien almost, right? Like there's that just a little tinge of oddness that makes the whole thing feel fake. That's really the tone that I think Bertin and Forbes hit, and that's what they're going for, and I think they do that really well. And that would be where I can see the comparison to Lynch. But again, to be clear, this is a far more straightforward whodunit, and there are some supernatural components to it, which I'll leave for you to discover on your own if you decide to read this. But really good stuff, and I believe the second volume's already been completed and published in other countries, and will be coming here shortly as well. So get in on the ground floor. Hobtown Mystery Stories, Volume 1, The Case of the Missing Men.
I started it.
Are we going to go 2 for 2 of books that I like that you didn't like tonight?
No, I only got about 30, 35 pages in, and I couldn't finish it for the show.
Okay.
But no, I very much enjoyed what I read.
Okay.
No, yeah. It's well done.
There we go.
Oh, hey, everybody. Thank you for being here. Please join us next time. You go to the comic shops, buy some stuff, a lot of books, read them, have a good time, and talk about them. That's that's fandom. That's what we do.
Join us next week in Charlotte.
Yeah. Or how about this? Create some comics yourself. And we'll talk about them here.
In Charlotte next
week. In Charlotte, yes. So, you know the drill. Say goodnight.
Nice.
It's good, Phil Collins.
Bro, now you're being hurtful. Don't really get an extra.
David.
Good night.
I'm pretty sure, by the way, I know every word to every song in No Jacket Required. I really do think I do, because I'm looking at the song list. I'm like, yeah, no, I know the lyrics to every one of these songs.
I was there and I saw what you did. Yeah.
David, nice.
I guess, Dap, you know what this is like? This is like, oh, let me be mean to someone before I see them, so that like.
What? How is this mean? I'm acknowledging they're okay. They're
yes,
okay.
And knowing you as well as we know you, you saying something is okay is just so.
Oh,
it's just that's venom, dude. For you to say something is okay is venom, because you want to either love something or hate it. If it's okay, you like not like the opposite of love isn't hate. It's disdain. It's having no emotional. And that's so when you say something's okay, that's like the ultimate insult from you.
No, I can't front on Phil wanting to make some money. Right? He saw he was in Genesis and made a particular type of music. They were popular, but he saw the pop landscape and he said, I could do that. I could do songs like that. I can make some money. So his solo stuff is the money-making stuff, and his Genesis stuff is the art.
Sure. Okay.
And then Genesis became pop. So I blame the solo stuff for bringing down Genesis. But whatever. It is what it is. It's all good. It's all good. Do you want me to play it again? I'll play it again.
No, that's okay.
We love you, people. And guess what? We'll see you in Heroes. Most of you.
Well, a good chunk of you.
Well, we now know some people aren't coming, so that's why I said.
Yeah, shout out. I don't know if we will put their name.
No,
out.
Don't put them on blast. But yeah,
we were very much looking forward to.
For real.
Meeting said person in person. So maybe next year.
Right, definitely next year. Because we love you, and tell them that.
So much. We love you, even if you're not coming to Heroes. But we'd love you more if you do come to Heroes.
Yes.
High artists, no more. It's like the cover.
It's like the guy had the third 365-day chip, and then he's doing blow off a hooker's back in Vegas.
Yep.
12 hours. Yeah.
That actually sounds like a Fantastic Four cover. High artists, no more.
Yep.
Yeah. So that we'll be there to see it, which is great. Say bye.
Say bye.
Bye bye.
That's it for that one.